This is a coping mechanism podcast.
This is a coping mechanism podcast.
This is a coping mechanism podcast.
Greetings, one and all, to another exciting episode of This is a Coping Mechanism podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ted, along with my wonderful co-host.
As always, Bessie, and join us as we cope through this satire life of ours with movies, media, mysteries, and more.
And sometimes that more is just delightful conversation.
Which is what we're doing today.
Welcome to your variety show, episode 2.
Ding, 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 ding. It's been actually a long time for me and Ted since we've hung out, but we took care of you guys, making sure we had those backup episodes that you get to listen to every other week.
Because you moved. Now you're
did.
deep South Pole.
I'm deep South Pole.
Yeah. You had to get away from the claws.
So, yeah, it's been actually like almost 3 months since we got together.
Yeah.
And so, finally nice to be hanging out again.
My brother Alex is off camera right now messing with us.
He might make his debut. He said not in this outfit, okay?
But you look so handsome. By the way, we're twins. You can know what we both look like.
You actually should pop in just because we always talk about you and we could see your twin.
Yeah.
Hey, but you guys look different still.
If you go to YouTube, if you go to youtube.com/thesocialnerds, you can see both of us and hear both of us. I'm just saying.
Alright. Well, anywho, if he doesn't want to get what's on it.
Well,
so what have you been up to, Ted?
Me, shit, bunch of drugs, man. I'm going to orgy parties, drinking 10, 12 bongs a night, and living it up, cocaine style. Yep.
Sounds like a blast.
Oh yeah, I'm blasting all the drugs. Full blast.
Full blast.
Yeah. Some would say I'm on blast with drugs.
Oh, that's cute. I love that for you. Love that for you.
No, I actually I take less drugs now.
Good.
So I don't know if it reads on camera, but I have been dieting and working out a lot.
Awesome.
A lot of people around me have been losing a bunch of weight, and I've always wanted to lose a bunch of weight, and I've tried many times. Been hospitalized because I've done it dangerously on many occasions. But so I'm trying to do it a bit more healthily now, a bit more sustainable. Sustainably, and
not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it,
Yeah, it is very hard, but ooh, does it read?
I mean, I think if you even, like, if you're someone who watches our YouTube videos and you see that, like, first video me and Ted put out compared to now, like, you can already see it. It's there.
I think in that first video, I was about 40 pounds heavier. Because that was beginning of summer. I was pretty high then.
Right. Yeah, you could definitely at least see it visually. I can for sure.
But I've been learning a lot about like bodybuilding and stuff.
Sure.
Because the only time I like lifting, and I don't think I've ever stopped lifting on and off.
Mm-hmm.
But it was mostly like from football, and they do not teach proper lifting in football. It's real bad. Oh, hello. So, before, the only medicine I took was I would take Tylenol, and now I don't take Tylenol anymore because it can mess with muscle growth. So now I don't take any drugs.
Good.
And, well, except for vitamins. I take vitamins. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, mostly I work out and starve for most of the time. If you're watching and you're like, oh, haha, he's starving. He's not eating that much. I'm really not. I'm eating like, I was just watching a video the other day because now all these like bodybuilders and like different fitness people keep popping up on my
Olympia
feeds.
just happened.
Oh yeah. and I was watching a strongman video where he like trades diet with this female bodybuilder
Yeah.
on, and I think she was like 2.5 feet shorter than, like a good 250 pounds less than this bodybuilder or than this strongman, and her diet is like almost exactly what I eat.
Right, it's extreme. You don't eat a lot. It's very clean.
It's like 1,600 calories. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's all I do.
Proud of you for.
Appreciate it. I hopefully, I was thinking about it. Not to go on a little wishy-wish tangent here. But for any of you that don't know, just schedule-wise, we tend to backlog episodes, and then that might be a good variety show episode next, like down the line, but we can like show the process of making an episode.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. But I was thinking that after this next backlog, by the next time we'd start doing another backlog, I might look
way different.
Yeah, like way different and like noticeably thinner.
If you really keep on that,
yeah,
slow and steady wins.
But I mean, it won't make any difference to you because you will have episodes every 2 weeks, so you won't really tell the difference. But it will be funny to be like,
look back and see that.
Yeah, and it'll be like you'll be 5 episodes deep, and then the next recording session, I'll be down like way smaller, and you'll be like, "What the hell happened?" But fingers crossed. Anyway, what have you been up to? Also drugs?
I might dabble here and there. But yeah, so we moved, so that was a big thing. That's like the shittiest thing. Moving and packing up all your shit is just the worst, and cleaning out of an apartment to make sure like you're not like losing all your deposit, or they're gonna try to make some shit up and be like, oh, this and this and this. So did a lot of cleaning, really deep clean the house we moved into. I'm getting used to my commute again because now it's like an hour and a half just to get to work, but totally worth it for the house and to have our own space and have a friend in town. I've been making commission art pieces, busy at work. So I've really just been like staying busy with busy work like that.
Your art is so fantastic.
Thank you.
I see it on Instagram. What's
Here, we'll have to plug like a picture.
Yeah.
That we can like bing, you can see it. I'll give you a few of like my favorites.
Is your art Instagram your personal, or do you have one just for your art?
I'm gonna make an art page because I don't want my personal one that I only have like actual close friends on to just be like public for like my arts. So sometimes I'll use like my business page and post some of my art there because I've had like clients buy my art. But I'm just, now that I have like my own art studio, I can actually like set up a place to take pictures and have a whole thing to like really promote my art.
You did one, whenever you get that up, let me know and we can link it in our description and you guys can go check it out. But you did one not too long ago, and it was like a teacup with like crystals and stuff into it. I was really into that, and I like kept looking at it, and I was like, man, these are so good.
That was the colorful one I did, if you're talking about that one.
Yeah.
That was a commission piece I did for a girl I actually went to school with, and she has her own business too, called Jay's Healing Hands. She does like amazing like teas and body butter she makes. It's all like holistic. But yeah, I always wanted to buy her stuff too, so we kind of just did a trade.
Did a swap. That's
which I'm getting to a point where like I like that people purchase my art and ask for it. But sometimes I even just like making it to like give away. Because I just like want someone to have it, or I'm like, ooh, so-and-so would really like this, It's like my own way of like gifting, but it's like I made it.
Well, Christmas is coming up, and I could find a spot.
Hell yeah.
Saying,
like teacups, like hella teacups.
I got teacups on deck.
But yeah, so I just been staying real busy, and I think now with the house,
relatively,
you just have forever like a never-ending list of to-do things. But I don't mind that because it means you're living. You got shit to do and keep up with.
I was because I helped you like
Move-in
with
stuff,
some
yeah.
stuff, and the only reason I bring that up is because I don't remember if it was you I was talking to or if it was my friend Shui when he moved. But like I have never I've never lived or rented a place
Mm.
from like a company
Right.
where or
Like a
you
renter's
yeah like a
place.
renter's thing. So was it you who I was talking to about security deposits and you were explaining them to me and I was like,
No.
what the fuck?
No, but they're ridiculous. I mean, that's why I always said I had one cat, because they're like, oh, if you want to add another animal, it's another $250 plus $15 a month for a monthly pet rent. I'm like, you think these bitches are working?
Like,
But like, I know it sounds
I'm not paying rent by the organism. I'm renting
exactly.
the rooms.
But I just think like, oh, they always say like, oh, it's for the damage or the carpet, and I get that, but I'm also like, you don't charge that when someone has 4 children and destroys the fucking house.
Did
So
you
why
even
are you-
have carpet? I don't
Only
remember.
in the bedroom and closet.
Okay.
And they charge you because they're like, oh, we rip it up anyway. So I'm like, then why do you charge like
Yeah,
this
then-
pet fee if you're gonna rip it up anyway? Like, charge me that one time and don't charge me monthly. I mean, a lot of people do it, so it's just like, yeah, I have one cat. You know, I'm guessing my maintenance people were cool, because as many times that they were in the apartment, because they have to come in there and check or change the filters, they never. I mean, I've heard that maintenance people will like snitch on people. I'm glad no one ever did for my 2 cats, because
Yeah.
I would have been pissed.
I have another friend. He's not. He's done some work with me before, but I don't know if he's ever been like front facing, so I
Yeah.
won't say his name. But he's had that thing, and he'll like drop a cat off at my house or something to watch and be like,
Just so when they come over.
yeah, because he's like they're gonna do a visit, so just look at keep an eye on this
Yeah,
cat. And
it's ridiculous, but whatever.
but I was like,
You just have to be. This is what I've learned with like renting is, when you go in there, they give you like this paper when you first move in, like day 1, like, hey, return this to us today, and like mark anything that you see is damaged or whatever, so we know when you move out that wasn't. You might like skim over it and be like, it's pretty good, but like, just to be safe, you should be like, little bite marks on this. This is scuffed. This is not like this. And take pictures, because some places will try to like fuck you up. My
Yeah.
place was honestly pretty decent and like reasonable, because there were some things that were messed up that I was like, oh, they're gonna get me for that. But whatever little they did take from the deposit, I still didn't owe.
yeah.
They gave some back, but some places will like fuck over.
I am remembering now. It was my buddy Shui, because
Yeah.
I remember we were like taking out the light bulbs, and I was just like, he was like, I gotta go put the old ones back, and I was like,
Yeah, shit like that.
the light bulbs, just keep them or throw them away. He was like, no man, they're gonna charge for them. And I was like,
They charge for everything.
they're fucking light bulbs,
Yeah.
dude. And he was like, yeah, they will charge me a whole pack of light bulbs for one light bulb missing. I'm not messing with that. And like, I guess I've been fortunate because in the 2 other places, 2, 3 that I've lived,
Mm-hmm.
that weren't this house. They
Yeah.
were from people
That you
like
knew.
rooms who were like either they were renting, either they own the house or they were
Yeah.
renting it. One was renting it from his parents,
Right.
and I was just renting a room. And like, even if I had ever done a security deposit, the only rule that I ever learned from renting was that if you fix something, you can get an estimate, and then you can give that to your renter, and then they have to deduct it from your rent. But Texas,
I've only had, like, when I rented a house and not an apartment, when I was like, oh, can I do this? And they're like, yeah, if you're like enhancing the way it looks, feel free, but like, we're not gonna give you it, right? Or like
No.
deduct it anyway.
Yeah,
it's
this was
just like
like-
for you.
if like a window's broken, or like if something actually is broken and then you fix it. And the reason I learned that was because in the one house I was staying at was like old, and it was like it was like a party house when I was
Sure.
younger, and I would fix stuff, and
I never did.
I made a joke of it because I'd be like, I learned that law in Texas at least, and I would make fake invoices and then give them to my friend and be like, yeah, I'm not paying rent this month. Here's the invoice because I serviced the air conditioner. I fixed that. Duck, the wall that got punched at that
See,
last party, I
not
fixed
all
that.
places will do that because the renter will tell you, oh, well, I hire someone specific for the AC or this. So you have to be like real careful with fixing your own stuff because they'll still try to be like, well, remember that one time where you hired someone else? Well, that's your.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what if I need it fixed and
You're supposed to like contact the renter for anything and everything.
And then I don't know.
I just hate people coming inside where I live. Like, I never even wanted the monthly maintenance people to come change the air filter. I'm like, I can fucking do that. So I would just do it and leave a note when we get an email like, hey, we're doing this today. Be like, I already changed it. Because you don't need to, like, because then they'll be like, well, lock up your animals. And I'm like, I'm not locking my animals up in a room all day for you to come for 15 minutes to change the air filter.
Yeah.
But then get worried that you might not realize they're right by the door and let them out. You know, so it's just like too much anxiety about it all. Or if you get someone weird that's like going through your shit, which is why I had cameras on the inside that I was.
Yeah, my buddy has told me like stories about that where like shit like that has happened, and
there's horror stories I've seen on TikTok and stuff of renters like using the key to come just in unannounced
and being like, this is my house, so I'm gonna
like,
fuck around
no.
here, and it's like, no, bitch, I'm paying for this shit.
But yeah, so I'm glad that's all done and said and done, and now kind of getting back to a routine where I can hang out with my friends and record record podcasts and just, you know, kind of enjoy my time off again instead of running around and doing and driving around.
At least for like the next month and a half before you leave again for a good while.
Yes. But at least everything else will be set in stone.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, now it's... Technically, you guys probably won't hear this then, but it is spooky season now.
It is Halloween.
A couple days out from Halloween. The best holiday of the year.
I definitely disagree with that. But I have come around on Halloween way more now than I ever have before. Like within the last few years.
Yeah.
Like whenever I was a kid, I hated Halloween. Like it was okay, you were a kid,
Were
you
you
get
just
candy.
like scared of most things?
Yeah.
Or was it like, this is the Devil's Day or whatever?
So that came later. Devil's Day stuff came later.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was like, it was fine. You went trick-or-treating,
Yeah.
you know, but like, you know, we were really poor.
Right.
So it was always like, which, don't get me wrong, I have good memories of like coming to my nanny and grandpa's, and then they had the pillowcases and they would let us draw on we'd have like an old pillowcase that they would let us draw on to like make it our own, and then we would go around. And I still stand by although people don't trick-or-treat as much anymore. Pillowcases are the most efficient.
I mean,
get
if
so
you
much candy
honestly
in
really
there.
think about it, it is kind of weird from like a safety standpoint just to go knock on strangers' doors, especially when like most parents just at a certain age let their kids do it by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that as very...
I think the idea is that it doesn't really happen anymore, or even around like where we are is weird because military base, you know, or at least I am. So people kind of move around on that, but a lot of times it's like your neighbors those are the people you're around, and that's pretty much it exclusively, especially back in the day before like social media and stuff, and you never stayed in contact with people or
to like meet up for them.
The only people you were around were like coworkers and neighbors, and in a lot of communities those were probably like factory communities, those were probably the same thing. So it's like, yeah, you kids can go around to, you know, Jim and Diane and blah blah blah.
It was like you said, community.
Yeah. Whereas now that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I've always liked, I think, kind of like spooky things. But I know, like, as a kid, I lived in Alaska, so like trick-or-treating wasn't fun because it was so fucking cold. And we were, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, so my mom wouldn't you know, I'd want these certain costumes. I'd be like, no, let's
Yeah.
just do this, or no, it's gonna be too cold, and you just wear your fucking snow pants, boots, and big ass snow jacket anyway.
Yeah.
So she's like, you're not gonna see
Just
the
get a mask.
costumes. So I would just be either like a witch, where you just throw this big black thing on with a hat, or like a ghost.
I remember.
But it was, we literally would walk from one house, maybe another, and get back in the car because it would be like -10 degrees outside.
And you're sitting there just like,
yeah, and then you go do one more then you drive to the next house. So like that was never fun. But as an adult, this is like my time of like, oh, everyone's kind of on the same page of what I watch like all the time. And I just love dressing up now, and we live somewhere where it is hot, usually around Halloween, or at least not super cold at night.
Yeah.
It might be a little nippy, but like
no,
you
you're
can
getting
dress
like
slutty and it's fun, and you're not fucking cold outside.
you're getting mid-70s. That's
yeah, and
gonna
if
be
it's if it drops to like 50 or 60 at night, like that's very tolerable
Yeah.
to be out.
put on an overcoat, which is
If- or
fine.
if that.
And then, which is good
Clothes
too,
don't
because
get cold,
perfect.
so.
If you're dressed sexy, like you know I am, you want to put on an overcoat, you know, so the creeps aren't staring, and then you know, and then go again when then you go to your drug orgy party and light it up.
Plus, it's like the one time a year where you can dress scary or weird or slutty or campy or whatever it might be, and people compliment you and give you treats for it like candy. They don't
give you
do that
candy.
any other time of the year. You're getting like a what the fuck are you doing?
And if
These
they do,
weird looks, you know.
they're a creep, and they are going to
yeah, if
hurt you.
someone's not around Halloween saying, "Hey, I got some candy for you," do not
Yeah.
go into the
They're
van.
like, wow, you look great. Would you like a piece of candy?
yeah, stay
Fucking
run, start
run.
running.
Oh my god.
Screaming stranger danger. No, but yes, I mean, I watch horror all year round, like movies that come out, or like older ones. And we kind of like made a list for this month. Have you watched like any horror films for the month or anything you had on a list?
Yes. So, that's what I was getting to a bit earlier. Where like when I was now I'm more into Halloween in the past few years than I ever have before. The younger stuff, it was like pretty much just that, where it was annoying and stuff. And then it got when I was religious for like the long
And you were
time.
like, bing, bing,
Yeah, it was like Devil's Day.
Yeah.
And then I think I like it was a mixture of that and like I don't want to. I'm too old to trick or treat.
Yeah, there's like that weird age where you're like, I can't trick or treat door to door, but I'm also can't go to these like lit ass parties.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you really do?
So I always just would hand out candy with my dad,
Yeah.
and now that's my
I
thing.
like seeing kids and babies and animals dressed up. I think it's still fun.
It's not we don't get as many visitors, but anymore. Still
Well,
do
plus,
full.
your neighborhood's gonna like age out, and then you just have
Yeah.
like the parents and stuff, or go to other different neighborhoods to trick or treat.
Yeah, that's true.
Or a lot of
But
people places do like trunk or treat now.
that's what
Which
they do
I'm glad
now.
that wasn't a thing at my age, because I'd be pissed if my mom took me to a parking lot and was like, "Hey, go in a little circle with trunks."
With the
I'd be,
cars.
no, that's fucking stupid. I think it's a stupid concept. It's a safer concept. I think it takes away the fun of like people that. I love driving through neighborhoods where people like have their yards all done
Yeah.
up. Like that's so awesome.
They throw a festival by the city park down the
Mhm.
way. That was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Or
Well, also that's another problem. Halloween just needs to be the last Saturday of the month. Period.
yeah,
Like the whole date thing and it being on like a Thursday this year. That's weird.
like
It's like, do you go out on the 26th?
Thanksgiving's always like that, right? The day doesn't matter. It's just like the third Tuesday. It's Thanksgiving.
Right, exactly, because it changes up. So that's how it should be for fucking Halloween.
Right? And it's
And that would make things a lot more plannable and I think more.
yeah. But
whatever.
like last few years I've gotten way more into Halloween. Last year I read all of the
Yeah.
monster books. I remember a while ago. So this year I wanted to watch a bunch of like scary movies. So almost every day I've been watching a different scary movie.
Are you doing like gore and campy and slasher and psychological thriller horror, or is it like kind of sticking to a tone of still that monster type of thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've done anything so like
Like scary.
strict or regimented.
Yeah.
But like I watched Stephen King's It Part 1 and Part 2.
Did you like them?
I love them. I love
They
It.
don't scare. That second one was kind of scary.
Yeah, the second one was a little, the first time I saw it, was a little scary.
Oh, you were rewatching it.
Yeah, but
this is not your first time.
No.
Okay.
And then because I was dating this girl once who was really into Stephen King, and it was how I heard about him.
Okay.
And she loved It, so we watched that the old one with Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown, and that one was like, it's still got some scary parts, but it's kind of goofy.
Right, because it's for its time.
Yeah, it was also like a TV. It was a made-for-TV like 2-part miniseries thing, so it's not like crazy bad.
Sure.
But like I watched It, and then I've watched like tons of vampire stuff because again, like vampires. So I watched the new Salem's Lot.
I thought that was actually good.
Yeah, it had some. I love the scene where what's his name? The vampire, the jump scare. Barlow. That's right, Kurt Barlow. He smashes out the light whenever, but it's a fluid motion of him like clawing the light, then going to like
himself.
Yeah, to like bite down on the I think he's the teacher, and it's just like he just comes and it's
so
just like
fast,
in a split second.
I always do think with vampire movies though, like I really enjoy them. Like I thought it was fun. But then when they start showing the vamps too much with like, oh, their eyes glow or their face is a little CGI'd or something like that, then it takes some of the fun away. But I felt the same way in Strain. The Strain.
Once they were just around. I
liked him when he was like in that hood and he was fast and you just saw some hands.
Yeah.
Or like the eyes in the distance. But then once you just start like showing the face like you're looking at us, I'm like, well, this kind of like takes the allure away. But it's still good. I'd never seen the originals or whatever, so I was just like, okay, this is fun.
We watched.
There's a lot of really good actors in it, so that's why I was like, oh, this has got to be good with all these like really good actors popping up as like.
You talking about?
I don't know actors.
No, sorry.
Like all the older people were like actors that have been in like really A-list movies.
Yeah,
so that's why I was like, oh, this has got to be pretty solid.
Yeah, well, we watched the one from 2002. We're still talking about Salem's Lot, right?
I'm talking just about the new ones here.
Yeah. We watched the new movie after we watched the one from 2002.
Okay.
Which was way longer. That was like 4 hours.
Yeah,
because it was like another 2-parter.
Or its own.
Yeah. And then I guess there's one from the 70s, which you might like because the vampire in that, Barlow, it's only in the movie for like a sum total of like 2.5 minutes.
Right.
And I guess that was like why it was famous, is because it's all around this bad guy who's not really in the movie.
But again, it's the times.
Yeah.
Like we watched The Sixth Sense recently again. Did you ever watch that? That
M.
Night Shyamalan?
Where the kid drinks the bleach and
No, he sees dead people.
Yeah, isn't one of them like the kid who drinks bleach and he's like under the covers and he throws up violently? Or am I thinking of something else?
I feel like you're thinking of something else.
Bruce Willis, right? And he's dead. Yeah. When Bruce Willis was dead at the end of Sixth Sense. Do you know what the bit I'm doing? I don't want to keep doing this bit if you don't remember. Okay. There's a Lonely Island song called Jizzed in My Pants. And they make a reference to that movie.
Well, I was just gonna go off of like that came out in 2001, and for its time, it was like mind blowing, like that psychological. Oh my god, he was dead the whole time. But when you watch it now, you're like, oh, they do that so much now in movies. Yeah. Where like, oh, that person's not talking. He's probably not real.
He's probably
or he's a ghost or in his head. So again, like Fight Club, you know, you're like, oh shit. But they do that so often now. Rewatching like The Sixth Sense, I was like, yeah, it was good, but like, you know. But for the time of it, it was amazing. Just like all those other.
Yeah, because it's revolutionary.
Like, exactly. Like the Blair Witch Project or whatever that, like first
I've
camera,
seen that.
You're just like, what the fuck, you know? You think it's real or and then we all get used to it and we're like, okay. You just
don't found footage, it's not real.
I think they're all still fun.
I actually didn't realize, but I probably should watch some more, like, because I'm not a big scary movie guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will watch them. So, like, I've watched the It's. I've watched the It's. I've watched
The vampires.
a bunch of vampire stuff. I
You like
watched
zombie stuff?
some stuff. Not
Not like gory vampire, but maybe just like the undead kind of being around.
I remember liking the original Night of the Living Dead, the black and white
Yeah.
one. I
What about The Walking Dead? Is you
I like the show.
Okay.
I never finished it. I was
No, I can't even. Tried multiple times.
I
But like, so you can do zombie.
yeah.
Okay.
I think the gist is if there's like I can't do fast zombie. That's
Those
another
are my favorite.
that's
Like the
another
World War Z zombies. I'm like, God damn, those are scary.
exactly. That's the
Or
thing.
the strain zombies. Nope, that's scary.
If they're fast, I'm like, oh, it has to be like I have to have enough knowledge to where I'm like, oh, if I needed to fight it, I could. And it's
Right,
like
when they're slow and actually like dead,
yeah, it's like
air quote, you're like, oh, I can
I could
live
hit that
around
guy in
this.
the head. I
Exactly.
could shoot that guy in
There's
the
plenty
head.
of times in The Walking Dead they're like just pushing them off them to
Yeah.
run, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
And you're like, or vampires, you're like crosses, stakes, all this like,
Daylight, yeah.
yeah, like there's so many
There's
weaknesses.
options, yeah.
Like you could get caught up, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But there's enough tools at your
That's true.
disposal. But whenever you're like, you know, no, this guy
I'm just laughing because I watched this crazy Terrifier movies. You heard of those?
no.
Where they're just straight up like body gore, where there's not a lot of plot, like gorier than like Saw and like Hostel. And I'm just imagining.
Never seen either one.
I'm just imagining you trying to watch that, and I almost want to show you like a clip after this, so like the trailer.
Just so I can be like,
just
what?
the trailer, yeah.
Maybe we should do that, and then we can record it and make a like a
little
little segment, yeah,
yeah.
to something to post. But I think the only scary movies,
Mhm.
I guess I've seen like a good bit of some horror movies, but the only ones that were like ridiculous horror were the Wishmaster movies. Have you ever seen those? There it is Wes Craven's least known series,
Mhm.
and I've seen all of them because whenever my friend Shui,
Well, those can't be too scary if you watch all.
they're about as like any like old Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the
Okay.
13th kind of
I
thing.
like those.
Um,
They're campy.
Yeah, they're kind of the whole gist is there's a genie who in lore, in like real genie lore, they're not good guys.
Right.
They're like real trickster.
That's what they seem like they should really.
Yeah, they're like trickster assholes. So in this one, it's a evil like monster kind of Wes Craven-y djinn killing people in very elaborate ways based on their wishes and stuff, and trying to get into the real world to
Right. Okay.
cause ruckus.
So what movie have you genuinely watched where you're like, that gave me nightmares, it was scary? If there's any.
I had. This isn't a horror movie, but it did give me nightmares. Was Joker Part 1.
That movie's fucked up.
Yeah, that
That
movie.
movie's so dark, like with mental health and like
Yeah.
emotional. I rewatched it one other time and I was like, that was dark. I don't know if it was great, but I was like, ooh, fuck, that was heavy.
I saw that at Alamo Draft House in theaters, and wait,
The best theater.
yeah, and it was like people were like really excited, and then when I left, it was so
Depressed.
weird because yeah, it was pure silence, an entire room of people. Like people have to be quiet at Alamo Draft House. I don't know if you out there have ever been.
Yeah, they're more strict about that.
Yeah, they will kick your
You
ass
can't
out.
even come in like late. Like
Yeah,
once the credits start, they're like, no, you can't get in, which I respect because I
Yeah.
don't want people doing weird, stupid shit anyway.
Exactly. I don't want people talking.
Yeah.
But usually when the movie's over, people are so pent up that like
Or start talking to each other about it.
yeah, like it starts like but everyone was so like
Heavy
freaked
ass movie.
out and silent that I've never been in a theater where like everyone just gets up quietly and
You
somberly,
gotta leave.
walks out, no one made a noise like leaving the theater, and then everyone's just like walking out. Because if you've never seen the movie, the whole thing is that it's really fucked up and eerie and like
It's not the Joker that I'm sure like some people are used to.
yeah, but it grounds
It was its own spin on the Joker's mental
yeah.
space and why he kind of is whatever he is. Even though people are shitting on the second one.
It's pretty bad.
You seen it?
Yeah, it's real bad. Does it?
But like, why is it bad? Is it because it's like more of a musical? Or
no, I was really excited for the musical. I love musicals.
I love Lady Gaga.
That's another horror movie we could talk about is Sweeney Todd, my favorite musical.
It's not scary though.
There's eating people.
Too funny.
He kills them.
People always, when I put, when I'm like shaving somebody, they always think it's funny. Like, Sweeney Todd, anybody? I always say, not on accident.
That's a great bit.
Don't fucking ask that stupid ass question.
That is a stupid ass question. Like, no, I'm fucking cutting.
Especially while I'm like shaving you. Like, don't. Why are you even talking?
But so Joker 2, well, first off, let me just finish the first movie, all of the mental illness is grounded in stuff everyone does, so it gives
real.
the inclination. It makes it so real that this could happen to anyone.
I mean,
so
that happens to people.
Yeah, it's like, what if you, because everyone's like imagining themselves like, oh, well, how would I be if I was on a talk show or on TV? And it's like, if you just ran with that fantasy into illness and it became real in your head. And
I was so like empathetic towards him in the first one that like when he started like killing and shooting people, I was like, yeah, I'd do the same.
Yeah, you're like,
which I know is horrible.
I guess he got pushed that far.
That's what I was saying. I was like, well, people shouldn't be treating him like that. So I was just like, of course people are going to snap eventually. How do you expect them not to?
The reason the second one sucks is because, first off, nothing happens in the entire movie. The whole movie is his trial.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was... So the way I thought the movie was going to go, like, his trial would be like the first 45 minutes to an hour, and then it would kind of be him and Lady Gaga doing Joker, Harley Quinn stuff. That's not it.
Right.
It's just a celebrity trial. It's like him being abused in this prison mental ward.
Yeah. She's in there too, right?
She's in it for like a little bit, but she's just like, she was obsessed with Joker and checks herself in, and then she leaves. But nothing happens. The songs aren't original. It's like I forget what they're called, but it's where they use real songs in a musical. Jukebox musicals. It's a jukebox musical. There's not as many songs as I would think there should be. Nothing happens, and all they do is go over the stuff that happens in the first movie, and then they also kind of like really beat down his character. Yeah, even not like in terms, I mean, they just kind of like make fun of it,
right,
and make it seem less impactful than what it was. And then it ends with I don't really want to, I don't think
I still want to watch it.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna spoil it.
Because I don't know, I feel like I might like it still. I tried not to be too harsh on like
I tried not to be, but like me and Sebastian went to go see it, and we were the only ones in the theater, and we were just like, and
you're like, huh?
Yeah, we left and we were like, that sucked. I wish I didn't see it. It kind of ruins the first movie and makes it be less.
Right.
Do you remember in the first movie how it ends with like he's giving an interview smoking a cigarette, and then he's like telling what happened, and then it ends
with him going into the...
Yeah, and you can see like in the faded background, like he's running and it looks like there's blood dripping on his feet or something. They like scrub that, and that's not what happens. And then they change it, and then they're like, no, and then they make it this other thing. But the whole thing was that you were like, oh, is that whole story in his head?
Yeah, that's what you would think.
Yeah, that's not what happens. And they kind of
just do its own thing.
Yeah, so...
Well, what I saw for a second two-parter that I actually thought was really good was Beetlejuice.
I really want to see that.
I wasn't going to watch it in theater, but my friend was in town, and I had to get my car serviced, and I was like, oh, it couldn't be that long. It's never that, you know? And they were actually like, well, it's going to be like 4 hours.
For a service?
And I was like, oh, fuck, okay. And I go somewhere to a dealership outside of where I live because I think their service is way better and the customer service at that, so I just go there anyway. And of course I was like, oh, well, can I have like one of the renter cars so we could just like go drive around and do what we need to do? And he was like, oh, we actually don't have it. He was like, but we can Uber you and pick you up wherever you want and pay for it. Hours outside. And my friend luckily had a great idea and was like, oh, is there a movie theater nearby? And I was like, oh my god, there's literally one like a half mile down the street. So I went there, and within 20 minutes they were playing Beetlejuice. And it was us and like one other pair of people. And I went into it because people were like, it kind of sucks, but I actually thought it was really fun. There were parts that I was like, okay, that maybe wasn't full circle, but I actually walked out of there like, holy fuck, I actually really enjoyed that. So I liked it a lot.
I haven't heard anything about it, but
I thought it was good. It's campy like it was. It pays homage and throws a little new spin of characters, and I thought it was still really good.
Yeah, that's all I want. Yeah. I just,
I just hope they don't keep doing more. Because I already was like, okay, it was a 30-year gap, and you do another one, like, okay, and it was good.
Well, Michael
but like
Keaton...
we don't need to like keep doing them.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing of like, okay, Beetlejuice is gonna like, what are you gonna do in this like purgatory?
Say his name, he's gonna cause a ruckus.
Exactly. But I actually thought that was really.
They got to do one more and do Beetlejuice.
That's true.
And they just make it a trilogy.
And then be done.
Yeah, then be done.
Okay. Well, that one was actually really fun, so I would recommend that to anyone who hasn't seen it, and Ted.
Would you count the Beetlejuice movies as horror movies, or are they just like spooky movies?
Yeah, I think they're in the genre of spooky season. I always put it on like once a year, and I would definitely put the second one on.
Now, this serious question: where do you fit Nightmare Before Christmas in the?
I personally think it's both. I think it's a horror or Halloween, a better word, that's not horror, it's a Halloween movie, because in their dimension it is Halloween all the time. He just goes to this otherworldly thing and then it's Christmas, so it's both, but I still it's both.
It's just both.
It's just both.
I watched that movie for the first.
You know what it technically is?
No, I don't. I watched that movie for the first time since I was a kid last year to like get more in the Halloween spirit, and I was like, I don't remember this movie at all, and it is a lot like weirder than
I love it.
Remembered it being.
But to me, like, people dress up as those characters for Halloween, so that to me is a Halloween movie.
Yeah,
you know?
I could see that.
It's just categorized as a family musical.
Just family musical.
But I guess it has the word Christmas in it.
Yeah, but it also has a nightmare. Nightmares are scary.
And they live in Halloween Town.
Yeah, like it's a big part of the movie.
Exactly.
I think it was like 3 years ago is when I started getting in. For real? Before I existed?
Yes.
I didn't think it was that old.
Just like the first Beetlejuice was 88.
Like, yeah, but Beetlejuice feels old. I guess because it's animated.
Yeah.
But also, like...
They still had to make, like, all their own, like, props.
Yeah.
Where this was just almost like claymation.
Maybe it's because... I don't know how the kids are nowadays. But when we were in school, like, the whole goth thing was Nightmare Before Christmas. Was, like, chicks and looking for Jack Skellington and wearing hoodies and all this stuff. And it was... I wonder if it, like... Has it stayed that level of, like, goth, alternative, popular ever since? Or did we just, like, hit a weird peak?
No, I think it'll always have that, honestly.
Of just, like...
Because I think our generation, that's, like, a staple of putting on, like, during the times. So I think people who do that continuously for their kids will
This thing is, like, I would see it if it came out, like, when we were kids. But the fact that it came out before we were born... And...
Yeah, there's always been that group of people that are, like, that alternative.
Yeah, and then I guess it's just still there.
Yeah. It'll just be, like, I think for our generation, like, a staple. Just like Beetlejuice, like, yeah, for us it was, we appreciate the time before.
Yeah.
Just like we all love, like, 80s horror now, because it was, like, again, for its time, was phenomenal, and they had to make all their own.
I only watched Beetlejuice twice, and I've watched for the first time, like, 2 years ago. Other than when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, it scared me.
But it's also very campy. That's why people
Yeah.
don't consider it like, oh, I don't watch scary, because it's not scary in the sense of like,
It's just a Halloween. It's a scary themed movie. It's
yeah,
not a
like it's
scary
very
movie.
campy.
Yeah.
And they sing, and
I was so terrified of Beetlejuice when I was a kid. The scene where like
that was my favorite. I was a kid saying like, I want to get that tattoo.
that fucked with me so much.
Ito gave me the little Funko Pops of them, and
Really?
I have them in my shop, and people were always like, "That's so cool." I know.
I remember, like
because I've heard
going
that book actually sucks.
it's based on a book.
No. The book in the show, like, the
More
something
death.
for deceased.
Yeah. Yeah.
People actually have read that book and say it's not great, but they like just promo it in the
That they get it and they're like,
yeah.
whatever. I
like the guide to the deceased when you die or whatever.
have you seen Hocus Pocus? I think is what
Yeah.
it's called.
I used to watch that as a kid all the time.
Really? I watched for the first. That's how I started getting back into Halloween.
It's
Was
fun.
yeah, it was pretty. I haven't seen the sequel.
I haven't either. I heard it was good, but I don't really want to like go back and watch. To me, that's too kiddish for some reason.
I don't know, man. They're like killing kids and are trying to kill
like, adult
kids and
women
stuff
are
like.
their little trio, but I don't know. It
They're witching it up.
doesn't give me enough like horror.
That's true. I guess if you go for me, who was like no Halloween, no scary,
That's a
and
good
then
start.
I worked with this very nice woman, who, she had like this huge family and they did Halloween real big, and she invited me and my brother, and I was like, what do you guys do for Halloween? Like nothing. Like your mom didn't do anything. Oh, I don't have a mom. And she was like, and then she was like, well, we're gonna watch.
You're like, jump scare. I don't have a mom.
Yeah. Oh my, it's Alex. Sorry, my brain is not
Foggy.
firing right, and it's all fogging, and it's a little funny. It's a little goofy. Alex does this bit that I adore, and it's so funny to see. And I've tried to do it. I just can't do it as good as him.
Yeah.
Where people will make like your mama jokes or something like that about your mama, and then he'll be like, don't know, never had one. And it's just,
I think he's done that to me.
yeah.
Where I've said something, he's like, yeah, but I don't have a mom. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
Or that's the thing is he does it. He's so quick,
casual, yeah.
and he's just like, I never had a mother. It's like, oh, my mom's dead. It's
He's just like, oh fuck my bad.
It's just like, you'd be like, oh my mom.
I feel like that happened even with us.
Yeah.
During our first episode, or the Handmaid's one, and you're like, I actually just can't fathom that a mom would
Love her kids.
love her kids and go just to go find them. And I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's probably did. But that's true though,
No,
because
yeah,
like,
it's very matter of fact.
I mean, in my experience, they wouldn't. I'm just saying.
No, but yeah.
I remember we worked with this guy named, his name was Barrett or something, I don't know, and he was a big mama's boy.
Yeah.
He was kind of proud of it, and he would be like how much time he spent with his mom, and like they would do activities and stuff. And I remember we were. It was when we both worked at Chipotle, and I was a manager, and then they were like cutting, and he was like, yeah, my mom actually, she came down to visit, and she like brought this German dessert, this thing. He's like, I actually brought some if you want to try it. He's like, my mom makes it the best, but she's gonna like stay and cook and do some of that. And he's like, and then Alex was like, wow, that's really nice, man. He's just like, yeah, does your mom do anything like that for you? And he just stopped, and then he was just like, no, not that I can think of, but and then he was like, oh, that's
Right. It's hard
why.
to respond
And
to
then he's
that.
like, oh, well, I don't have a mom. And he went, what? He's like, yeah, she abandoned us whenever we were like 5. And then the guy stopped cutting, and he started to like, he's like cry. He's like, are you fucking with me? This is not funny. You really shouldn't fuck with me about something like that. And he was just like, no, yeah. And then I was like, no, it's true. Our mom abandoned us when we were like 6, and yeah, we don't really like that. I was like, but good for you. And he just, you could tell that he had never thought of what it would be like to not have a mom.
Well, I mean, most people don't. They live with their own.
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm fine, but
I think you've made it out way better than considering.
I've definitely had like motherly figures, you know, like Ma. Yeah, Ma, Sebastian's
Of
mom.
course.
You know, I had my Nana until, but she
But
was.
there's something about like even if you have all those figures, I think psychologically like it's still like it's
Yeah.
not what, or it's almost the opposite. You're like, wow, all these strangers could do this for me. It'll always be not the same.
It did cement that I'm like, wow, my mom really sucks because it's not that hard.
Right.
Because these people did it and they didn't,
Yeah.
Like at least my Nana.
Right. She's family.
Yeah, she was family. Like she passed away. But like, Ma, she didn't have to do anything that she ever did for me. And, let me tell you, you want to talk about someone who get really uncomfortable about not having a mom? She really did. She was like, why don't you ever talk to your mother? I'd be like, well, I try to, but, she wasn't. She left us when we were very young, and all of my memories are pretty abusive of when she was there.
So why would I?
And she would just be like, she would just get quiet and do that thing. I don't know if you ever seen her where she just looks away without talking.
She's like, well, that was enough.
You're like, after she slammed the cat in the door and crippled it, she just didn't really like talking to us. Oh. I got rice the other day.
But I remember in Vietnam, she was talking to her family in English. And I was just sitting in the hammock, in the kitchen, just coexisting.
Just chilling.
Yeah. And I remember her telling, like, her family about you guys, like, how much she loved you guys, but then being, in the next second, being like, yeah, they don't have a mom. They abandoned. Like, and I was just like, oh, fuck, that's so, like, random to just be bringing up. Like, these are 10 Alex, their mom abandoned them. And I'm like, oh, does that need to be included in the whole that's them thing?
I guess when you're casual about it, as we are.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually, I wanted to ask you about. This reminds me,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about something.
Sorry. On mic or off mic?
We can do it on mic.
Okay.
You'll have to excuse listeners for this just ball of nonsense that is this episode of Talk About a Variety.
That's what you're here for, actually. So you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Talk about a variety show. That's all I'm saying. So I was
and Alex as well.
And Alex. I was hanging out with Sebastian the other day. We were I was helping him work on his house, and we were taking a load of stuff to Goodwill and to donate books to the library.
Nice.
We're good in our community. You didn't know. So I was having this conversation with him, and I just wanted to get your perspective because you had a response that I've experienced, and let me just get into it.
Okay.
So you remember, I don't know if I've told this story on mic or at least on this podcast, but I told you about my religious experience with homophobia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had that discussion.
Yeah, that's right. We had a whole podcast about Ted's religious experience. I must have talked about it.
And before that, I think it was while we were at a restaurant all together. That was kind of my first perspective sprinkled on you. And you're like, oh, let me talk to Bessie. Yeah.
So, I remember, if you guys want to know, go listen to an episode of the podcast.
Yeah, you guys should be listening to them back to back anyway.
In order multiple times.
You should be caught up.
If you want to know the gist, go listen to that episode. But I remember when I told you about that, we talked about it later, and you said that you were kind of like put off by it a bit.
Put off by?
About how like I used to be homophobic, in a very literal sense.
Yes.
Where I was scared.
Literally scared.
Of homosexuals.
Did I give that vibe off?
You told me to my face.
Did I? What did I say?
Where you were like, you said,
Sometimes people tell me I say shit so like off the cuff like that. I'm like, did I say that?
You didn't say it then. We talked about it later. You looked like you were a little uncomfortable, and then I talked to you about it, and I was like, you seemed a little uncomfortable, and then you said, yeah, I was a little put off by it, but I know you, and I know that's not you.
Now.
Yeah. So, and then the gist of the, I don't know, the debate was, I said, he told me that I don't think you should be as upfront with people about that, or that you should tell as many people about that as you do.
That's what I said to you.
No, that's what Sebastian said to me.
Okay.
You were just like, whenever I went into more detail and explained it and just realized that it was about my experience, and you realized that it was funny and really sad and fucked up, and that it wasn't really my fault, and then I got over it, you know, so you were fine with it. But the point I was making to Sebastian, he was saying that I shouldn't tell people that because they could get the wrong idea of who I am. They could get
which is maybe why I'm thinking now that was my first, like, oh shit, is he
saying
that because he still thinks that?
Exactly. Where if you tell someone that, they could, you know,
take it full faith.
Yeah, and then like they might misjudge you or whatever. But that my point was that if someone does that and they don't want to hang out with me or they don't want to, that's fine.
Sure.
And his idea, but he was like, well, you shouldn't judge people based on your past. And I was like, you shouldn't.
Well, it depends what they do.
Yeah.
I think some things are just unforgivable. Well, that's just my opinion.
Well, that's the thing, is some things completely unforgivable. Where you
hurt animals and kids. If you're not doing that, I think you're fine.
Yeah. But my point the point I was making was that if you don't want to choose to spend your time with someone for whatever reason, then you don't have to do it.
Right.
Now clearly I have abandonment issues. So if I want to abandon someone for any reason, I've learned that you have the right to do that.
Yeah.
But not that I do that, you know, I do get very connected. And I remember telling Sebastian, I was like, if Bessie decided she didn't want to be friends with me because of that, it would be very hurt. It would hurt really bad. But I would understand. And the example I gave him was that there was this fella, I won't use his real name, who I worked with. I hired him, and he, at Chipotle, we hired a whole lot of ex-cons. And God, they were all fantastic. I miss
we talked about that before in one of our episodes.
Yeah. So there was this guy. He was an ex-con. Again, not going to name names. But he was a hardcore gangbanger. He killed people. I talked about him on the show.
You said he was a good worker.
Yeah, he's a great worker. He's a great guy. He used to tell me stories about how becoming a nerd saved his life, because he wouldn't have... Either he would have like gotten with gangs in prison, but instead he started hanging out with people who play Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, but he killed people, and like he did a bunch of shit, and he would tell me about, and he was in jail for like a while for manslaughter, but that was not the only person he killed.
Yeah.
But he wanted to hang out and play video games and come to D&D and all this stuff, and I liked him well enough. But and I remember played online with him like once, but I was like, you know, I don't need any more friends. I don't really want to bring this guy who killed a bunch of people into my circle. I don't care that he killed people, actually. It's a downside, but you're in that life. If you're
a product of whatever.
From what he told me, he never did anything wrong by anyone who wasn't in that life, other than he robbed the occasional person. But he said, he was like, I never beat on anybody I ever robbed. That's messed up. And I'd be like,
so is your full circle, like, do you think
my point
he shouldn't be that upfront?
No, my point is that I think you should be upfront about your past.
Yeah.
But if someone chooses to judge you or just not want to interact with you because of that past, I think it's fine. I think there's enough people out there that it's not the super biggest deal.
And what's the question you're asking from my perspective?
My question for you is, do you think that it should be like, if it's unforgivable, whatever, but do you think that you shouldn't be upfront about something you've moved on from if you've completely moved on from it? And even if you are upfront, should another person just totally be like, oh, well, that's not, I'm just totally going to put it behind, doesn't matter, has no effect on my way of thinking? Because I don't know if I don't know.
I mean, I'd like to say I'm not a super judgy person, but I do catch myself judging internally a lot.
We're naturally, humans are naturally very judgmental.
Yeah. but I feel like I think there's a time and place to like bring up those things
Yeah.
in general. Like I think when you were telling me those things, it was a very intimate, safe space. And maybe you, like that guy you worked with, maybe he felt like you were a safe space, so you kind of have to take that on with, you don't know what he's ever going to tell you, so you
I
just...
don't know, man. He told that to everybody.
Okay, but again, I think there's a time and place to, like, hash up those things, and if they make sense in conversation like they did with what we were talking about. But yeah, I try to take people for full face value of who they are now, and what they give to me, you know, in our relationship or whatever it is. But I do think if you're gonna have a close friendship with someone, you should kind of know all those things regardless.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't feel like I was even your friend if I didn't know that. You
Yeah.
know?
That's
So
true.
I want to know all those things about you, or else it's just surface level and I'm just
Exactly.
getting what you want me to see, where it's more vulnerable to be like, no, I used to be super homophobic and scared of gay people, or I used to be a drug addict, or I used to, whatever the case is, or whatever you may or may, or I was a bully in high school, and I can recognize that was shit. You know, as long as you can be self-aware, I'm totally fine with it, and I think most things are. Like, I have never had any ill thought of you for whatever your beliefs might have been, ever. Like, it's never even crossed my mind. I think I was more surprised because I had never heard it and I couldn't even imagine you being like that.
Because I am.
But I'm glad to still know, like, that was a part of your life. Because maybe when in discussions or if you come to me for help, I can maybe give you better advice or be a better listener knowing those things, or else I just would be like, where the fuck is that coming from, you know? You have more understanding of something. But I think some things are unforgivable.
Yeah.
Or if you're just not self-aware, and you might not be like that anymore, air quote, you're not watching, but you're still deep down kind of like that, then
I don't run the dog pits anymore.
You know, but, you know, it wasn't that bad. You know, then I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know?
We only lost 3 kids in the fighting pits, and that was like hundreds of fights.
Yeah, exactly. Then I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But if you can, like, really recognize, like, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, like.
So I think there's a time and place for everything, but if you're gonna have a close connection with someone, I think they should know all your dirty, as long as you've come to terms and processed them yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think I have. I just, like, if you listen to that episode of the show and you're like, that guy thought that for whatever reason, I don't want to listen to the show. Then I'll be like,
sure,
it's a little close-minded.
Sure.
You know, but
that's the right.
Yeah, but that's your right. And that's fine. And I guess that was the only point I was trying to make of, like,
perspective.
Yeah, it's like, if you choose, like, you don't have to think someone's a dick or bad to not want to interact with them.
No, I think too many people are people pleasers and be like, oh, well, I kind of have to, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing it more for you, but I'm a big believer of, like, cause I'm the same way with, like, my business. People would always tell me, well, that's still a customer, like, you're still making money, and I'm like, I don't like them. Even if they have never inherently said anything that is worthy of being fired for, if I don't even like the vibe you're giving off in my chair, why should I have to service you? Like, if I don't see your name on my schedule and go, ooh, I get to see them today, you don't need to be on my schedule, because I don't need your bad, weird aura in mine.
How?
So I had to get to a point where I was like, you can go get your haircut somewhere else. Like, there's a million other places. Like, we don't vibe. I'm not obligated to cut your hair. Go the fuck somewhere. I don't care if you're paying me or not.
Yeah, that's true. And if you're in the position,
it's just a boundary.
Yeah, and if you're in the position where you can make those choices, then why would you not? And that's the thing is, for most,
life's already hard. I'm not gonna have people in my life that make it harder or weirder or uncomfortable at all.
Exactly. And a lot of people, they don't have that option professionally. Sure. So personally, so
you should do it personally.
Yeah, if you personally want to make that choice, I think that you should be able to. And Sebastian's argument was that's wrong. Not in so many words, but that you shouldn't judge anyone based on, like, their past experiences, just on who they are. And I was like, well, you're right, but that's not really how people work.
No. I used to be told I was way too judgmental for not wanting to be friends with someone who likes Trump.
Yeah, and it's
People
like,
used to be like, you can't like judge people off something like that. I'm like, yeah, I can. I can judge you because I don't fucking like what socks you're wearing and not be your friend.
yeah,
Like, you might think I'm being a bitch, but like that's my boundary. I don't want to hear you ever bring that shit up. I'm not gonna be associated with it, you know? It's the same thing, but
when
you're
I
still being judgmental.
when I used to smoke, I was interested in this girl,
Oh
and
yeah,
she
I
was
wouldn't
kind
date
of
anyone
interested
that
in
would
me,
smoke.
and she was like, "Oh, you smoke? Oh, I don't want anything to do with you."
Yeah.
And I was like,
I would do the same thing.
"Really?" And she was,
Ito vaped when I first met her. I said, I'm not gonna be with you if you vape, and he stopped.
"Yeah," and I was like, "Really? But I'm not." But then she explained it to me, which I very much appreciated. And the idea was that if you do something so bad and you have so little care for yourself that you would do this thing that's like unequivocally bad, then how,
I just
if you
don't like the
have,
smell of it.
oh, she was like, if you have that little respect for yourself, why
Sure.
would you respect me in any way? And I was like, now I'm like, well, addiction's a part of it. But at the
Of
time I was
course.
just like, I guess
Reasonable.
so. Okay. And then I was like, well, actually, I'm sure at the time I was probably like, whatever, plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah. But I think all in all is this variety show. Scary movies.
Oh yeah,
Just
that's
like
right.
scary life.
I was told, like I said before, my brain's not running 100%. I was like, what the fuck is she talking about scary movies for? We were just, what is she go? Oh, wait a minute. We were talking about scary movies for like 40 minutes.
Well, you know, on the note of our perspectives, you want to do a few little questions like we did last time?
Yeah, sure. We can do some. What? I didn't think of any questions.
No, our little card game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's really out of it, y'all. He's really fucking out of it. So it's spooky season, life is spooky, and
Let's go scary, y'all.
again, this is the and game, where you ask each other the same question, you let each other fully answer. You don't have to answer it if it's too uncomfortable or if the question sucks. Describe in detail your life 5 years from now.
You know, if I haven't OD'd from all the coke and sex parties. 5 years from now, I would like to I guess I could just say I want to be in shape
Yeah.
and not editing anymore. I would like to be successful enough to hire an editor and be doing all of this I would like to be doing all of my podcast and content creation in a scheduled work format. That's where I want to be in 5 years and in shape, you know.
Great.
That's about it. And not have to edit. I've been editing for so long. I want to hire an editor so bad.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm not.
That's the thing, is we're the talent. We need.
Well, I feel like we're actually pretty good at this, where it feels like you wouldn't have to edit too much. It's more of like at least the editing of like cutting a whole bunch of shit all the time, mainly just like putting it all together.
Yeah, I've only had a couple episodes where it's been like, yeah, because I still have to like go through. That's a whole nother episode. We're getting 2 episodes. Okay. So do you answer the same question or do I draw another one? Okay. What do you like to do?
No, that's not the question
You're right.
I asked you.
Describe in detail your life 5 years from now.
5 years.
Leave me alone.
5 years from now. Honestly, I'd like to kind of been like traveling a lot more by then, like comfortably without all the anxiety. I'd probably maybe like to be wrapping up cutting hair and find a new career. I mean, we'll see. I love my clients, so I can't even imagine like never maybe seeing them again. But I still would really like another career that's not so demanding of me physically.
Like I said, I texted you this before. Me and Alex were talking about it. All you have to do is get into streaming painting Warhammer miniatures, and you'll be banking.
Banking. I'll think about it.
I'll get you a miniature.
There you go. So yeah, traveling and maybe finding my next career in life. I'll be cutting 15 years.
That is a pretty big chunk.
Yeah, so if I could do something.
Well, you make a hell of a podcaster. If someone would give us money for it. Oh, do I draw? I asked the one. Or do I? We go, okay, that makes more. I won't draw the one that I said, and because. No. What kind of music do you think moves me, and why?
Moves you?
Yeah.
I don't know if I know what I like. So I'm just gonna take a wild guess.
Well, you know one song that I like because I've been talking about it
What
all
song?
day today. Are you serious? Because we've talked about it a bunch
I
of
just
times
remember the
today.
song I've been singing.
You have been singing the same song a lot.
Song? Can I get a hint?
Yeah, it's from Childish Gambino.
Oh, yes. I think you probably like very, like, songs that move you in the sense of, like, probably, like, very lyrically based. You want, like, meaningful, deep kind of lyrics instead of just, like, catchy riffs or beats. Or maybe you really like country. I don't know. What is it?
Well, honestly,
I don't think I've ever been, like, even in a car with you to be like, oh, let's put on some tunes you might like.
that is true. That is a good point. I don't think we've ever done anything like that.
Or I've never worked out with you to be like, oh, what do you listen to amp yourself up for a workout? Some people like podcasts when they...
Yeah, I actually do like podcasts when I work out. Well, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm lifting, I have a weightlifting.
Right, but I have no idea what you're...
So
what moves you?
I get moved by very specific songs.
Are they usually all different genres?
Yes. So you know how there's like they say, "Oh, I listen to everything."
That's you.
Yeah. But in a very serious sense, like
So if you had to answer that question, what would the answer be?
I could tell you what I've been listening to right now that's been moving me, but I can't tell you like a specific thing. But like Lithonia from Childish Gambino. A lot of Childish Gambino stuff, especially his more serious, like the Redbone album and stuff like that, moves me. Lately, I've been listening to modern American indigenous people's music. And I've been really getting a lot of joy out of that. A friend of mine also sent me this what is it called? It's this death metal band from Eastern Europe.
Well, I just sent you the Chapel Roan album, so you can get into some 80s pop.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good point. There is one person who always moves me. Tom Waits. You ever played Tom Waits? Oh my god, I have to play some Tom Waits.
You can plug it in here, actually.
Yeah, I can't for
oh yeah, you can.
Copyright reasons, but
never mind. You can start singing it.
Tom Waits
breakout song.
Yeah, Hold On by Tom Waits, especially on like it will make me cry.
Oh.
Do you get moved by music that much where like it can make you cry?
Oh yeah. Every day when I commute to work.
Oh, okay.
What type of music do you think moves me?
Because
again, we don't know. I mean, you know the song I've been singing, but that's just like a fun little song.
Yeah, just like
catchy.
a fun thing that you listen to. I think
Pink Pony Club, for anyone wondering.
Yeah, she has been singing that
for every mic check.
Yeah, every mic check, and I didn't hear that song until today, and oh wait, I did record. I might put that in this blooper of the line that I did when you were like, sing that song.
That was so funny. His own remix of Pink Pony Club was great.
My remix of Pink Pony Club, a song that I had never heard before.
What do you think moves you?
I think what moves you is like alternative instrumental. Okay.
I really like R&B and soul music, or I really like opera music. Like I think just off the cuff.
I also love opera.
Like off the cuff, someone just like if I'm on TikTok or something and someone's singing it, I'm instantly like mesmerized and watch it over and over. If it's just like an everyday thing, like I love art. Like that shit I feel just like goes into your soul, and even if it's like a breakup song and you're not even going through that, you're just like, damn, bitch, I feel that, you know? I really love like R&B.
I like some R&B, but it's not one of my top genres. I do love opera. Do you like classical?
I can kind of listen to anything, honestly.
I go hard.
I have like a whole playlist of just opera, of just like random shit I've added forever. Like it's no one specific, it's different languages, but just the sound of it, I'm like I want to go to like an opera house, dress up in black tie, and just like that would be awesome. Like I would probably cry watching an opera show just because.
I really want to go to it, and I may ask you to go.
Yeah, I think there's one in a big city where nearby we could go.
Really? That's true. There's this orchestra that plays that is this and I would love to go black tie, full tuxedo, but it's just orchestral renditions of Legend of Zelda songs.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's the Zelda Orchestra, and I want to go see it.
Harry Potter.
Really?
Yeah, and it looks awesome.
I've never seen all the movies or read the books, but
those.
Okay.
People count those as Christmas movies, so
I remember the first one being kind of Christmassy. He gets a gift.
There's a few Christmas ones.
I've seen the first one. I liked the first one as a kid. I tried watching them all because all of my brothers have read all the books religiously and love the movies, but
yeah,
I got to like, I don't know, 5, and I was like, man.
Yeah, they're long and there's a lot of them.
You fucking chill.
All right. If you were me, what would you do?
Besides going to more cooking, I don't know. If I was you, I'd be happy in a loving, stable relationship, with financial security, home, and I don't know. If I was you, that's true. You know what I would do if I was you?
What?
If I was you, I would go I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, I'm Bessie. Okay. No other questions. And then I would turn and I would give Sito a kiss on the forehead, which I do either way.
Yeah.
You know, I do that as me. And then I would go into the kitchen, make coffee or tea. I'm not going to see what I had to do that day because I don't know. And then I would just go around and just look at everything and then go sit outside and be content.
Oh, that's cute.
And if this is a Freaky Friday situation, I'm assuming I would get a call from Ted and I would not answer.
He's like, well, that fucking sucks.
I'd be like, welcome to hell.
That's funny.
I'm at least taking a day.
Just one, please. Oh, I love that. Aw. Nice to see.
Yeah, I know I'm sure there's always grass always greener, blah, blah, blah,
sure.
blah, blah, but.
No, but that's still
fucking cool, man.
If I were you for a day,
I would get a funny tattoo and not tell you about it or where it was.
I wouldn't even care.
That's
Just because I'm like, oh, cool, another one. If I were you, I think two things. I think it'd be really awesome to feel what that bond is with Alex. I have like zero.
Wow, deep.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like I have zero relationship with my sister. I don't even speak to her. The little bit of healing not a little bit, like a lot of healing I have gotten are from like Sito's sisters. Like even just those little moments of like, wow, that's what it would feel like.
They're
that's
super
really
sweet.
Nice. But I think I just probably take a whole day of just like being with my brother. Wow, or like the fact that you guys get together with your friends and do like that community you've built. That's awesome. Like none of my friends live here besides you guys, you know. But I don't do D&D, and it's just like a different dynamic. And then on the other hand, I'd probably beat the fuck out of somebody because you got heavy ass, big ass hands, and I just want to know what it'd feel like to hit somebody that fucking hard.
Let me tell
those
you,
two things.
From my friends, because they do a bit where they like to push me till I punch them.
Oh God.
Sebastian and Shui do this all the time now that they live together.
Yeah.
They double team to like just see how fast they can get it done, and then Sebastian will like throw Shui in front of me. But according to Shui and Alex, I do.
These big ass hands, like
Yeah.
I just want to full face hit someone with that fucking ring on. Boom.
Apparently, it hurts really bad.
Exactly.
I've been
I just
told.
never hit someone, so I'm like.
I don't think I punch that hard, but even
Yeah, but you're just a big dude, so like
Yeah.
you're gonna be heavy-handed.
Yeah, I've
So
knocked
those
out
are
a
the
good
two
few
things
people.
I would do. I'd hang out with my loving brother I have a bond with, and I'd go punch someone straight in the fucking face.
And just watch him drop.
Yeah, and just watch him
and be
drop.
like, "Oh no!"
I'd be like, hell yeah.
I've done that where I don't realize how hard it like.
Yeah, it feels like you don't even have to try, and you just would
I really
be heavy.
don't. I busted my friend's nose once because he likes he's like a boxer, and we got sock and boppers,
Oh, there you go.
and then we were playing, and I just went and busted his nose open. And he's fucking crazy.
Oh,
so he was
God.
bleeding, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And he was like, "Yeah, let's keep going." And I was like, "Shut the fuck up, man."
So yeah.
And I gotta, if you like just did that, he wouldn't even notice any difference. Alex, if you were just like,
You would totally notice.
I don't know, man.
You know why? Because I'd be digging at him for all these questions I ask, and he'd be like, "Why the fuck are you bothering me with these
Yeah, he'd be
questions?"
like, "Why are you asking all this stuff?" Or he
And
would
then
just
he'd be like, "See."
you would start trying to ask questions, and he'd be like, "Oh my god, let me tell you about this Warhammer," and then you would pull.
And then I couldn't answer any of those questions, and he'd be like, "Who the fuck are?"
Let me tell you, I can't answer those questions either because I'm not as into it as they
Or
are.
any video game. If I was like, if I went like play D&D as you, they'd be like, "Yo, what the fuck? Ted must be really on some drugs right
You're
now."
like, are you tired? Like, the diet's really hitting him, huh? And they'll be like, roll a d8, and you'll be like, fucking what?
I'll be like, "D's nuts? I don't fucking know what's happening."
Then Shuey would 100% know
He would
something was
know,
wrong.
yeah.
He'd be like, "That's my line. What are you?
That's
Who are you?"
Took his bit.
I do feel bad for some people because I don't want to say I take my friends for granted because I do very
You
much
can, yeah.
appreciate them, but I always do think it's weird when like and this is a me thing, but I give my friends hugs and I
Hey,
kiss
very
them.
affectionate.
I'm affectionate.
Which people like me who are introverts really appreciate. Even if it might be uncomfortable at first, we grow to like love it.
Yeah, and so like I hug and kiss all of my friends, men and women alike, and I was just realizing that when you said that, when you're like, "Oh, your friends are," I'm like, "Do you hug and kiss
Teacher.
one guy?
Yeah.
That's so sad."
Yeah.
Be like, I'm getting like hugs from like 6 to 10 people a week,
I know.
and I'm like, "Oh man, that's true. I guess I do have like a really."
I mean, the friends I do have are like my best friend and I have been friends for like almost 15 years, like since middle school. I'm doing the math right, 10ish. So I think the fact that we haven't lived in the same place since after high school shows how strong of a connection we have, because she lives overseas and we still have this bond that like I've always said like she was like my first like love of my life, like soulmate, and I feel like I'll always feel that way no matter how far or how often we see each other. But I do wish like we lived here. I wish like a lot of my friends joined the military, so like they just moved away. So we're still close, but like the fact that you can just like on a whim call your like I can do that with you guys, but like that's it.
Yeah, but
like I don't have that anywhere else.
if I needed someone,
yeah. You could call
I got
multiple.
9 people I could
Yeah,
call
there
that
you
would no if as long as they knew I was serious and I was like, "I need you here," they would
Yeah.
drop whatever they do and
Yeah.
they'd be here.
I think that's awesome.
We have one friend who we make fun of for his name. Well, I won't say his name because he's even more introverted and very like
Yeah.
closed off more than you.
Yeah.
And he's so like reserved and
Yeah.
quiet, but he's a very like cool guy,
Yeah.
but he is the most rock solid friend ever. Like you don't even have to finish the call and he's already just there,
Yeah.
quiet, not moving.
Showed up.
And shows
When
up.
the fuck did you get here?
And he's so rock solid like that we make fun of him for it because he's like, "I don't really care about you guys," and we're like,
Yeah, you do.
"I wasn't even off the phone with you, and I was already in the. You were taking me to the hospital." We're like, and then everyone's like, "Yeah, actually, I've never not called Bill at him. He's always there." Damon, I said his name.
You're just gonna have to.
I have to bleep that out. Bleep out the name.
You should
Future
just-
Ted.
You should put that like dolphin sound over that.
Yeah.
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 That's what you should. So do that.
But we're always just like, man, best friend bleep,
Yeah.
solid as a rock, always there for you, no matter what.
Yeah.
And then he just goes, fuck you,
That's love right there.
right?
But hey, I think this was a variety show with whatever the fuck we were talking about. We love our friends, clearly. I love horror movies. I'm glad Ted's getting into it a little bit more so we can dabble and talk about it.
I want substance.
Yeah.
We should watch the new Alien movie because it's supposed to be a horror movie.
Oh, I watched it already.
Oh,
Romulus?
yeah.
It's great. So
Oh.
we'll do a whole clip on that.
I want to watch it.
Yeah.
But since you're experienced, give me some horror movies with like real substance, and
Okay.
I'll probably watch them.
Okay, I could create that whole list and we can kind of
I don't want like horror nonsense,
No, I
like
got
gory
it, I got
nonsense.
it, I
I
got
want
it.
like
substance.
Yeah.
Plot.
yeah,
Yeah.
real thick plot. I want a nice plot.
Well, on that note, to our friends listening, we love you. To our listeners, we love you also.
I love
Thank
you.
you for coping with us
Thank you
on
for
this
coping with
big
us.
variety show. And
Yep.
check us out on socials.
Check us out on socials. Check us out on YouTube. Any podcast services, we are currently listed. Check us out on Patreon, which by the time you listen to this, hopefully I have a bit more fleshed out. And
Share us. It's
yeah.
always free. We always appreciate it. Rate us. All that good stuff. And we'll see you next time when we talk about the movie 7 and the 7 Deadly Sins.
Ooh.
Stay safe out there, guys.
Stay safe. And what was the thing they were supposed to say?
I already said it.
She already said it, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Your wish is granted.